Hey guys, and welcome back to more Magic the Gathering speculation. In today's video, we're going to step a little ahead of Kaladesh and peer into its sister set, Aether Revolt. Now, we don't have much on the story yet, but let's use what we learned from Kaladesh thus far to make some predictions. Right or wrong, it's still a fun exercise in theory crafting. So first, let's briefly go over what we know from Kaladesh. Well, it's a world ruled by a bureaucratic, all-controlling governing force known as the consulate. The consulate dominates the will of the people through its control of a magical force known as Aether. Aether is much like mana you'd see on any other plane, only more concentrated and occurring in naturally flowing streams in the world's atmosphere, known as the Aether Sphere, of course. This Aether isn't used by mages. Mages on Kaladesh still use traditional mana to cast their spells, not to mention many are highly restricted and policed by the consulate. No, Aether is used by the normal citizens of Kaladesh to perform all manner of feats. It acts as a power source for lights, fantastic machines, luxury items, and essential production facilities. Inventors and crafters alike use it in their masterpieces, pushing reality to its limits and achieving the impossible. It's a wonder known only to Kaladesh. But with the consulate's iron grasp control over the Aether, some are finding it quite difficult to go about their daily lives. The consulate believes that everyone's entitled to their fair share, but they ultimately decide who gets what. Most of the common folk get the same amount, while others working under direct orders of the consulate are provided a much greater sum. This policy of equal yet not is what's pushed some over the edge, resulting in the formation of a group of rebels known as the Renegades. So with this information alone, you can guess that with a set named Aether Revolt, the story's gonna be pretty easy to predict. The people are fed up with the bureaucrats of the consulate and their meager rations of Aether. Chandra and her mother, Pia, rally the renegades and the common people to rise up and take back what is rightfully that of Kaladesh, not the elite consulate. But that's a little too easy for my tastes, so let's go a little deeper. When the High Inspector, Davin Bane, first approached the Gatewatch for help with the Renegade problem, he mentioned that a new administration had taken control of the consulate in the past 12 years. We come to learn that the head judge, and most likely leader of the consulate, is in fact the planeswalker Tezzeret, who most likely assumed rule through his superb artifice. Now, we don't know all of his plans just yet, but typically, if he's involved, it's not a good sign. Through the stories, we learn about the elf named Rashmi, who invents an outstanding machine capable of teleporting inorganic material. Her experiment managed to transfer the molecules of a vase from one part of the room to another. It's small scale, but it shows promise. Fast forward to the card Confiscation Coup, Head Judge Tezzeret seizes all inventions at the Invention Fair, perhaps in a power grab to get a hold of Rashmi's teleportation device. But what would Tezzeret do with such a machine? He's a planeswalker, he can already jump through the multiverse. It just seems a little redundant. That is, until you realize where he had just spent a lot of his time, the corrupted world of New Phyrexia. The Phyrexians are beings obsessed with the completion of the multiverse, the perfection of each creature to its highest form. To them, the mix of flesh and metal combines to make the greatest life forms ever known, and they have proven that on Mirrodin. In the beginning, they favored machines over weak flesh, but on New Phyrexia, they've discovered the benefits of both. On New Phyrexia, as Mirrodin came to be known, Tezzeret was sent by his lord Nicol Bolas to monitor the evolving situation there. Little is known about his activities on this plane, but it was known that he wanted to assume Karn's throne as father of machines, essentially ruler of the Phyrexians. Karn wasn't there willfully, so Tezzeret believed he could easily take over. His plans fell through, however, as a native Mirrodin revolt, coupled with Phyrexian infighting between the Praetor leaders, caused too much disruption in the ranks. We don't know what happened there afterwards, but Tezzeret clearly didn't rule. Now Tezzeret is at the Inventor's Fair, where a teleportation device was just constructed and seized. This teleporter can only teleport inorganic material. Put it together. Maybe Tezzeret did in fact succeed in reaching out to the Phyrexian leaders. Perhaps he went out to find a way to spread the completion of the Phyrexians. Back in the old days of Dominaria, the Phyrexians used portals to travel to blind eternities all the time. It wouldn't be a stretch for these new Phyrexians to want to do the same. I propose Tezzeret made a deal with one of the Praetors, most likely Elesh Norn. Since he is harmoniously flesh and machine, and also a planeswalker, Elesh Norn would let Tezzeret lead the Phyrexians should he discover a way to transport her forces to other planes. Tezzeret seeks to use the Phyrexians for his own purpose, perhaps ending the abuse of Nicol Bolas once and for all. So he agrees to this arrangement and heads out. He finds Kaladesh, a world of machines and ether, figuring that if he would ever find a teleportation device, it would be here. He assumes control of the consulate and severely limits the people's access to ether, hoarding it for himself and his own army of researchers. He also establishes the Inventors Fair, giving others outside the consulate a chance to build the device for him. Once the teleporter is designed and functional, Tezzeret will summon forth his Phyrexian army, assume control, take Kaladesh, and use it as a staging point for his assault on Nicol Bolas in his own world of Amonkhet. This is where Aether Revolt comes in. They aren't revolting some bureaucrat in an office surrounded by paperwork, they're using ether in their revolt against the Phyrexians. This is actually tied to the story of Mirrodin a little as well, since even back then, people were revolting against the Phyrexians. Seems like no one really enjoys being perfected. Of course, this theory does have a few holes, mainly that the teleporter Rashmi created can only teleport inorganic material. While a lot of Phyrexians are metallic, a lot more are a hybrid of machine and flesh. So will it only teleport half of Elesh Norn? Maybe they are completely inorganic despite not being artifact creatures. Whatever the case may be, this isn't a foolproof theory. But seriously, I think we could see Phyrexians on Kaladesh. I mean, there's evidence to support it. It may not be perfect, but it could potentially fit. But what do you think? Do you think Phyrexians may make an appearance in Aether Revolt? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider throwing in a like, sharing it with friends, and subscribing to stay up to date on all the latest MTG news and lore. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.